Oh shoot, firefighters. Exciting. You're not gonna see him, he's going straight through. Oh, you might. There he goes. And we're off. Okay, so that was an exciting opening. It's Insulation Day! Well, day one of what I think will absolutely be multiple days of insulation. I don't 100% know what it is I want to do. I mean, I know I want to insulate the van, because here's the thing. Let's not forget where I live. Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Now, I don't know how much you may or may not know about Alberta or Canada. I know a lot of people just assume Canada's an Arctic tundra year-round. Not true. But I do live in Calgary. We are at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains here, and we get Chinooks. That being said, we still can get down to -30, even -40 degrees Celsius. We had a week just a couple months ago, if that where it was between -30 and -40. So knowing all of that, I gotta prepare. I can't be going in half-assed to this van life idea. Well, it's not that I can't be, it's that I don't want to be. So insulation and having a proper heater that's not the vehicle's heater are kind of like the top priorities. So we're starting with insulation. We'll get to the heater later. I've decided I'm gonna go with rigid board along with spray foam. Initially, I was gonna do rigid board and then use 3M spray adhesive to attach to the walls. But after looking through a few more examples that other people have done, I'm going to at least attempt to just use the spray foam as the adhesive to hold the panels on the wall. There's 3 different kinds of insulation when it comes to rigid boards. There's probably more. Well, okay, no, I guess right off the hop, there's 4 that I'm going to be talking about real quickly. And there's XPS, EPS, GPS, and polyiso. They all have much longer names, and all of the 3 with just the letters, those actually stand for things. I'm not going into that sort of detail. You can look it up. Basically, EPS is, I'm not an expert, okay? This is just from what I have researched and gathered. EPS is styrofoam, like your very traditional styrofoam. XPS is the blue or pink insulation boards you see. I think one of the most common ones is the pink one that actually has the pink panther on it, and they're called foamular boards. And then there's a fairly new one called GPS, and the G stands for granite. And I guess from what I read just last night, the GPS boards can be the longest lasting and the most moisture resistant. And then there's the other side, and the 4th one, polyiso, is I guess the absolute best when it comes to rigid board, which also makes it one of the more expensive ones. Insulation gets categorized by R value. I think that stands for radiant value. Again, don't quote me. The higher your R value, so let's say, as an example, I think it's like an inch of the GPS board that I'm getting is R5. 2 inches is R10. The higher the R number, the better your insulation will be. But of course, the thicker your insulation is, the more you're sort of encroaching on your livable space. So the trick is to find the highest R value for the least amount of thickness, but then also taking into consideration we're trying to be as cost effective as possible. What we're going to start with is polyiso boards on the roof, and I'm going to go with GPS boards at 1 inch for R5 on the walls. I've watched a lot of videos where people do multiple boards and they've gotten their entire van up to about R11, and they say that's pretty good, actually really good for a van. That's not really in our budget right now. As long as I don't seal everything up permanently, which I don't plan on doing. Once I get the wall panels in, they're just going to be screwed into studs, which means that they can easily come out. If it turns out after the first winter that's just not enough, take my paneling down and add more insulation, right? It's an ever-learning experience, and that's where we're at. So yeah, off to Lowe's to get what we need. If they don't have it, we'll hop over to Home Depot, gather the materials, and start the insulation, because this is the one I've been waiting for a very long time. stupid to buy giant rectangles of material when it's windy. Just saying. Like Jerry Seinfeld once said, this moron actually believes that the wind grabs this giant rectangle at 100 kilometers an hour. Don't worry, I got it. I'm using my arm. Okay, so that's 2 boards of polyiso, 4 feet by 8 feet, and they're an inch thick each. Are 6.5. They're not very, I guess I should say, they're very rigid. They don't have a lot of flex. So, whoops. The plan with those is for the roof, like I said, but there's gonna be some left over because the roof's about 11 feet. They're 8 feet each. So I'll have 5 feet of board left that I want to do probably around the area where I'll be sleeping. But the walls curve. So my plan was to use the rest of the polyiso on those places on the wall. We'll see how easy or hard that is. Because without a lot of flex, Anyway, we got to go to Home Depot to get 2 more boards of the GPS and some great stuff spray foam. Studs, hopefully. Come back and hit those. Okay, that's it. That's everything. You're right. There's totally gonna be something that comes up and be like, well, crap, I don't have that. We got 4 boards. That should be enough to insulate this whole van. We'll have a little bit left over, so we'll see where maybe some more needs to go, but I don't think that's how it's gonna work. So yeah, let's go get something to eat and get on with this. So didn't stop to get lunch proper. Popped into Superstore to pick up some stuff for dinner tonight. And here's the thing about me. I'm a huge sucker when it comes to something that's labeled as new. New, limited time, I gotta try it, have it, get it in me. Unless it's something that I know I won't like there's some new lime Ariba Dorito chips out. Absolutely not. Hint of lime chips are disgusting. But picked up these bad boys because, you know, 3D Doritos. I mean, that's what I needed in my Doritos. I needed them to be more in my face. So this, I mean, it's new here, limited time only. That's funny. Honey mustard Pringles. This was all, they sell these in the States, and I always make a point of picking them up when I'm down there because they were never here in Canada before. Now they are, but apparently only for a limited time. You're right. These are really good, but those aren't the new ones. These are the new ones. Yeesh. Wendy's Baconator flavored Pringles. I like the Baconator when I'm hating myself. In chip form, I can't imagine it's going to be very good. I bet you any money it just ends up tasting like I bet you any money it just ends up tasting like bacon flavored Old Dutch chips. We're starting with these though. So, you know, you see the commercials. Let's see what we, yeah. So 3D Doritos. They're literally bugles. Taste like a bugle too, even though they're chili cheese nacho. They'll do. That's my official review. Okay, sure, we're back at the shop. Boards are unloaded. I'm done looking stuff up and making sure I'm doing everything to the T. At this point, I'm just gonna wing it. I've looked up enough stuff. I can't imagine this is gonna be that hard. It's just a matter of measuring, cutting to those measurements, and then sticking it on the wall, right? Why overcomplicate it? I don't need to, but I saw one other person who was doing a Chevy van do this. This is, I guess it's kind of insulation from the factory to help prevent the ribs from rattling in transit. I am gonna trim this stuff that kind of seeped out off, just so that my insulation is butted right up against the edge, nice and clean. So yeah, I think for a tester, we'll start with either this one or this one over here, because there's no interference of anything at the bottom, and see how it goes. Look at that. Look what just started. You get one piece of foam board in, and it's the middle of winter again. Might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but still. This wasn't in the forecast. Okay, so spray foam's interesting to work with. We'll see how it goes for the rest of these boards. And I already have a feeling I'm gonna need way more than the 3 cans that I bought, but we'll see. Well, I guess I could just do this board kind of. Where's my knife? So each board is 8 feet long by 4 feet wide, and the sections are actually about 16 inches wide by just over 4 feet. So I'm pushing the boards right down to the bottom, and I'll just fill up the top where they leave space with some more spray foam. So I've marked these out. So with that logic, I should be able to get 6 of these boards per sheet. So I should have enough to do the whole van. That was my logic. And the X-Acto knife, or I guess the utility knife, does a damn good job of cutting through this.
We've got lots of junk food, that's good.
That were my snacks.
Buddy, you're getting back into the crap food.
No, those are just snacks. Like, one thing is open. Yeah, the one you just grabbed a handful of. And now we'll see if this first can is enough to cover 2 boards. I'm not too confident. Well, maybe, who knows. Oh no. This can. This is thrilling. It actually kind of is. Let's get serious. Oh yeah. So spray foam doesn't tack up as fast as I thought it would. And of course, like most things when I'm doing something that I haven't really done before, I'm a little paranoid about everything. So everything I've read about insulation is like you can't have any sort of gaps between your insulation panel and the wall that it's stuck to. I mean, yeah, I can seal it all up like I kind of have around the edges, right, with the spray foam. But again, I don't know if that's gonna give me enough peace of mind to be like, well, even if it's loose from the wall, that's fine. So I'm just hanging out right now because I realized the first one I put in was a little loose. And I already have that one sort of rigged up like that. But it's pressed against the wall. But this is where the door is, so now this is where we live. At least for the next 10 minutes or so. So, van life, building, utilizing all the tools you have, including your huge feet. Okay, so this is quite the ordeal. I mean, it's fun. I've never used spray foam before, but I guess it takes about 8 hours to cure completely. It becomes tacky in, I don't know what it said, 5 to 15 minutes or something. You really want a system of weighing these panels down. That's better than whatever I've been doing, laying on my back and holding it with my feet. I've only got 3 done. You can't even see this one. This was the one right behind my driver's seat, this one, and that one. These are just the panels that don't require me to do any cutting yet. The other ones I'll get to tomorrow. What I'm doing right now is I'm gonna use big gap filler to fill in the ribs and see how it goes. This stuff expands to 3 inches, I've been told, and I've heard you need to be extremely careful when you do this because people have actually blown out their bodywork doing stuff like this. So we're gonna go slow and see how that goes. Pretty. All right, so we'll see how that does. I've noticed that it like dries up to the foam. Oh, I cannot speak. Apparently it's been a long day. Doesn't feel like it's been a long day. I've noticed that it dries to a foam consistency where you can actually break it in about an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. So I'll leave this, come back out, check it later. Probably finish off this can and some other ribs. And the rest of it is going to be tomorrow. I don't even know if the rest of it will be tomorrow because this takes a while. This whole board setup I got going on here. Like, I'd love to do that panel, but that board is right where I need the bottom of the panel to be. Good morning. It is day number 2. Sorry if it's a little loud. I'm running the van just to warm it up. That doesn't look too bad. I didn't expand nearly as much as I thought it would. And those feel like they're in there a lot better than they were, so might be onto something. Yeah, I thought for sure this stuff would be like, I don't know how the spray foam works, so maybe that's exactly how it was supposed to go down. Either way, just continuing on with the rest of the installation. Insulation, yes, no, that's right. Ooh, this is obnoxious. These panels just do not want to stay. Okay, I'm going to attempt to put up the first ceiling panel. I just picked a random one that's not in the way of the boards that are currently in there. And I've got both of my jacks prepped in the van to hold it up. So we're gonna see how this goes. So. Other stuff is so flexible. I don't know how this is gonna work. So 16. That's really loud and obnoxious. Let's speed this up. Sad day, I'm clearly gonna freeze to death. Hey ho. Okay. See if I remember how I just did this later. Okay. Oh dang Matt, you really done it now. Oh god. And put it back. Put the candle back. Name that movie. This is the epitome of figuring it out. Wow. Use the spray foam as the adhesive to hold the panels on the wall. Why overcomplicate it? I mean, it should work. I don't know how structurally sound those things are. And the floor jack has a tendency to give way under weight, but it's causing the weight, so I don't know. We will find out. That's probably all I'm gonna be able to do today because all this stuff is gonna have to sit overnight. It's interesting. Okay, so that was just over a week, and it's still not done. I know for a fact I'm not doing this efficiently, and I definitely got lazy on a few days. Like yesterday, I just did what you saw. A couple puzzle piece panels back there, called it a day because it was miserable out, didn't feel like being in the cold, and would rather spend the day with my daughter, which I did. So, all the panels are in, the roof is done, and now all that's really left is to fill minor gaps with some spray foam. So, I mean, this is not, it's ugly, right? But it's all gonna be behind the wall panels. So everything's kind of been cinched up, seamed, sprayed in all the cracks, all that good stuff. If you've got questions about this back panel, right, these were all sort of odds and ends that were left over from all the other cuts around the van. And instead of throwing it out, since it is so valuable, that's what happened to that wall there. Here's where I'm at. Two things. I still need to insulate the doors. I think what I'm gonna do with that is I'm actually going to get fiberglass bats and use that 3M adhesive spray to stick inside the doors. They are so contoured. Getting some of these panels that I have left over in there is just gonna be, where am I looking? It's just gonna be obnoxious. So I think fiberglass is my best bet. I get the concern about fiberglass, about it breaking down and the fibers getting there and breathing it in and all that. But where I plan on putting it, they will be covered by panels as well. So it shouldn't be a problem. My second point of wonder is if I should be making everything at least one more layer thicker in here. I know I said I was just gonna leave it and try a winter, but I just don't know. I've got quite a bit of all of this board left that will inevitably make this go on a little bit longer. And then I'm covering up my studs to get access to mount stuff. I just don't know. These are the things you have to think about. And it really will come down to where you live. Like me, I'm going to be in a place where it's cold. It's cold right now. Granted, it's only like -2 degrees Celsius, but still cold. So I don't know. It's hard to know for sure without having my heater already installed, right? So I'm not sure. I will obviously let you know if anything changes. This video is going on far too long. I think what I will do is I will end it with some of the fiberglass insulation and one last quick overview of everything, and we're gonna call it a day. Okay, so we got some fiberglass. This is what we're going to stuff into the doors. I didn't bother getting any sort of spray adhesive. I figure this stuff will probably puff up and be sturdy enough to hold itself up. I hope. We really don't want to have to make another trip today. Guess we'll find out. But I'm going to be really smart with this. Gloves, mask, long sleeves underneath the jacket and the jacket, because I don't feel like ending up covered in this stuff. I've never used it, but I've heard horror stories, so safe as possible. Let's see how this stuff goes into the doors. I love working with this stuff. I mean, it's scary because you feel like you're always gonna get it all over you and then you're gonna die, even though it would never be that bad. But it's super easy to work with, like, and it's so moldable and it just kind of fills up the space and it holds itself fine. So I'm super glad I didn't waste any money on that spray adhesive. That would have been total waste. Right? And then once the panels are over it, no worries. And then you saw me shoving in what was left up here in this track, which was super nice, and it worked out great. It filled both sides and then just a little bit kind of, yeah, right there. So I still got to fill in some more of this channel, probably with just the spray foam. But initially I was going to do both those sides with spray foam, and there's no way I have enough of that left, and that would have cost way more money. So it was super cool that worked out. For as long as this task took, this ending with the fiberglass bats kind of made it all worth it. It was a nice way to kind of wrap things up. And now we can finally move on to the next step and make it look very pretty. The last few things that I will have to do that I'm not focusing on right now because we're coming into summer, I will figure it out as we go along, will be the wheel wells. They will probably just end up, I'll probably just cover them in Reflectix, just to be like every other van life dweller. And the windows. Some people completely seal them up and insulate them, put paneling, and they don't even worry about the windows at all. I installed a hitch. I will be towing. I will need to be able to see behind me. And yes, I will probably end up getting a rear view camera eventually, but I also like the idea of having windows, being able to have the doors closed but still see out. So some sort of temporary solution that I can throw up at night will probably be the best bet. I've seen people do snaps, right? Snaps all along here and you can just snap it up. That's a lot of drilling and probably more expensive than maybe something as simple as, say, a Velcro rim around this and then something else with Velcro. I've got a lot of the insulation board left over. So now it's about being creative, right? So on that note, until the next one, guys, just be happy, be creative, be yourselves, and most importantly, just be positive. I'll see you guys next time.